Imagine being Toto Wolff. Your Mercedes team is completely, utterly dominating the 2026 Constructors' Championship. Sitting pretty on 302 points.
Well, Ferrari is way back on 204.
Exactly. Your drivers, Kimi Antonelli and George Russell, are routinely leading the pack. Yet, you are losing sleep over the accounting spreadsheets of a team trailing nearly 100 points behind you.
It is a bit of a paradox, isn't it?
It's absolute madness. Welcome back to another deep dive here on the Paddock Vault. Before we unpack this $215 million math problem that is terrifying Mercedes, give us the green light by hitting that like button and hit in to subscribe.
Spot on. It's a massive story in the paddock right now.
It really is. And I want you to drop a comment below for us. Let us know, is Mercedes actually terrified of Ferrari's spending, or is Toto just playing his usual paddock mind games?
Well, you look at the timing screens, and Mercedes is basically untouchable. But Wolff isn't watching the lap times right now. He's watching Maranello's manufacturing output.
Which has been off the charts.
Exactly. Since Miami, Ferrari hasn't just tweaked the SF26. They've effectively brought a totally new B-spec car to the grid.
And blimey, we saw the result of that output in Barcelona, didn't we? I mean, Lewis Hamilton claiming his first victory in red. But looking at the sheer volume of new parts, it's staggering.
We're talking revised front wings, completely new floor edge geometries, and that radical 180-degree Macarena wing.
Right, the Macarena wing.
Yeah.
Now, to get that wing to stall perfectly on the straights and successfully shed drag, they had to run countless iterations in the wind tunnel.
Yeah, which burns through their R&D allowance at an alarming rate.
Quite frankly, the aerodynamic testing restrictions mean every single hour in that tunnel costs you dearly.
But the real head-scratcher for the rest of the paddock was Austria. Ferrari rolled out a brand-new engine. And under the current regulations, those power unit specifications are supposed to be completely frozen until 2027.
Right. Normally, you couldn't touch that engine block without incurring massive, massive grid penalties. So Ferrari must be leveraging a regulatory loophole here.
Yeah, it ties back to the ADUO framework.
The additional development and upgrade opportunities.
That's the mechanism. The FIA introduced ADUO to prevent engine manufacturers from being locked into a totally uncompetitive power unit for years.
Because Ferrari, along with Audi, fell below the mandated performance benchmark early on.
Exactly. So they were granted extra dyno testing time and, crucially, budget leeway. It essentially gave them a sanctioned backdoor.
A backdoor to redesign combustion elements that Mercedes and Red Bull are strictly forbidden from touching.
Right.
But mate, let me push back here. Even with that sanctioned backdoor, Mercedes just went first and third in Austria. If I'm Toto Wolff, I shouldn't care what Ferrari does if my car is fundamentally faster.
You would think so, yeah.
So why is he so panicked about a team trailing by nearly 100 points? His core accusation is that Ferrari's development is, and I'm quoting him directly here, limitless.
Well, performance in modern F1 is a trailing indicator of spending. Ferrari is employing a strategy of constant rolling updates at almost every race weekend.
Compared to Mercedes, who only introduced one major package back in Montreal.
Exactly. Wolff knows the math. Every new front wing concept requires fresh carbon fiber manufacturing, expedited freight costs, heavy CFD computing hours.
And all of that is permanently deducted from that strict $215 million limit.
Right.
It's like a marathon runner, Yeah. Ferrari is sprinting the first 10 miles of this marathon at world record pace.
That is a brilliant way to visualize it.
They get the early lead, or at least close the gap quickly, but they are bound to hit a massive financial wall before the finish line.
They are entirely front-loading their development budget. They know they have a massive pace gap to close, so they are throwing every financial resource at the car right now.
Fully aware they will likely have to freeze upgrades by late summer.
Yes. Compare that to a team like Williams at the back of the grid.
Yeah.
They are literally waiting for parts to reach their absolute structural end of life before replacing them.
Purely to avoid hitting the cost cap. The contrast in how these teams manage their ledgers is fascinating. The modern F1 arms race is fought on accounting spreadsheets just as fiercely as it is on the asphalt.
Because that absolute ceiling forces a brutal compromise. You can't just throw money at a slow car anymore. If you overspend in May and June, you pay for it in October and November.
Which leaves you with a truly terrifying prospect to ponder. If Ferrari maxes out their $215 million budget by the summer break in this mad sprint to catch up, what happens if Hamilton or Charles Leclerc suffer severe crash damage in the final races?
It would be disastrous.
Will we see the legendary Scuderia forced to race a patched-up car, held together by duct tape, unable to afford replacement parts while Mercedes safely cruises to the championship. It's a high-speed gamble, and the bill always comes due. Thanks for joining us in the paddock today, and we'll see you next time.